Well, I went to the garden center and I got a few more evergreens because if you haven't seen the video where I mentioned this before, one of my goals for this winter is to be able to look outside my windows for the 6 months of freezing cold and see a color other than brown or gray. So I'm hoping that I can get these potted evergreens to survive out here in the courtyard over winter. I have no idea if any of these will yet because I just got them all this year. But when I look out the window, I really don't see the garage deck as much. So that I'm fine with covering with tarps and whatever else I'm going to do up there. But for here, I want it to look just a little bit pretty. When I look out the window, I will be planning to add lights. I'm throwing around some ideas of potentially dyeing some dried hydrangeas different colors. I don't know. We'll see where the fall and winter take us. But today I want to go through all of the evergreens I have. This is either it, or I might get 2 more because I do still have 2 empty pots. I've shown some of these before, so I'll start with the new ones that I just got, briefly mention the ones that I've already had. I'm going to tell you about their growing information, some tips that I got from the garden center where I just got my newest 3 evergreens, and potentially try to figure out where I'm going to place them. Now with containers, you can always move them around, especially when they are on wheels, so it might not be their permanent place, but I want to start to get a feel of where I think these evergreens would fit. Before I go into the plants though, let me quickly show you the pots that they're all planted in, because they're all planted in 2 different varieties of the Crescent Garden containers, all in the same black color. So this one is the Brunella. This is the one that looks like a terracotta pot. I did put it on wheels. Wheels do not come with this. I did put this on wheels so I can easily move the larger pots around. So that's Brunello, Brunello, Brunello. And then any of the round ones that look like this are the agave. And I do have 2 agave in the 20-inch. So this is 20-inch, 12-inch. I think those are the only 2 sizes. So that's what everything is going to be planted in this winter. I know some of these pots are small. So again, this is all going to be a fun experimentation. So now I'll go through the newest plants that I just got yesterday. So first off, I got 2 plants, and these are the golden carpet junipers. I got them because I don't know if you can see, they were $15. So my favorite garden center in Chicago that I go to the most is Gethsemane. They had their sidewalk sale this past weekend. I went after the sidewalk sale, so some of the sales were still on the plants. So I was like, well, I can experiment for $15 and see if these can survive in a 12-inch pot. Now this is a creeping juniper, and I kind of like that look falling out over the pots. Maybe at some point you can't even really see that there's pots under here, but I also don't want it to spread too far. So I might either just put it on the cement and not in a garden bed, prune it whenever I want to. Now these don't have the growing information on them, and of course I bought them anyway for $15, so let's look that up now. So this is a low spreading evergreen shrub with brilliant golden foliage that does not burn in full sun. That's good since it's the most intense heat, the sun that they get here. Slow growing, 4 to 6 inches per year, fantastic. In winter, the foliage turns deep golden salmon orange with green undertones. It's the winner of the prestigious Award of Garden Merit from the Royal Horticultural Society. That's exciting. So this says it can grow up to 4 feet tall, 4 feet wide, but again, only gets a few inches larger each year. I can either plant them into a bigger pot, give them away to friends that have a yard if they get too big for my garden. Full sun lover, medium moisture, well draining soils. It's also drought tolerant. And the hardiness zone is 3 to 9. Again, I am 6A here. Recommendation is 2 zones below where you're at, which would be 4. So 3 is even 1 lower than that. When you're growing in containers though, I never really know how the root ball is going to do. The larger the container, the better chance of the root ball not dying over winter. So we'll see. But again, I think for $15, it's worth the experimentation. This is the other one that I got. So I got this again from Gethsemane yesterday. This one was not on sale. This one I got for $4.95. It is a golden mop cypress. I'm realizing I'm loving the yellow foliage, so I should probably look for more green or blue colored foliage out here. So this one is hardy zones 4 to 9, so not quite as cold hardy as the other plants, but this one is in a larger pot. And I did ask at the garden center how they thought this could do outside in a pot over winter. And I told them my pot diameter is 20 inches and they said that should be good, but you can never know for sure. But this can get up to 3 to 5 feet tall and wide. But again, it's very slow growing. So who knows how long it'll take to get there. I also really love the smell of these. So this plant is one of the larger ones that I have. So I'm excited to kind of figure out where I want this to go. But this one is also on wheels. This one here is also a golden mop cypress, and this one is much smaller. Obviously, I got it from Home Depot a couple weeks ago, but I really like this in the round pot. I originally planted it in the Brunello, the terracotta shaped one, but I feel like with the round pot and the roundness of the bush, they complement each other really well. Then I have my dwarf blue spruce right here. Again, this should be one that is slow growing. I think I put it originally in one of the 12-inch pots and it just looked silly. I didn't realize it at the time, but when I was editing the video, I was like, no, she can't stay there. So she is now in a 20-inch pot as well. And then the last one that I've had previously is Fluffy. And I don't know, I know I had this one, I can't remember which other evergreens that I've already shown you, but this one is Fluffy. It's a Western Arborvitae, and this is USDA 5 through 8. So actually, maybe I did show this one, but this is the one I'm getting most worried about because it is zone 5. But I do have some ideas for protecting some of these plants while they're out here that I will talk about once I get them kind of situated around. Oh, and last but not least, this is a pot with 4 of the Neat Ball boxwoods. I had originally planted them in the ground. They were just, they are too small. I wanted them a little bit larger, so I just put all 4 in one pot, and we're gonna see what happens. Is this a good idea? I don't know. Is it a bad idea? I also don't know. But we will find out come spring. So those are all the evergreens I have for now. Again, I do have 2 more pots that I could potentially fill, but they're both the 12-inch sizes, so it won't be anything too large. So I'm just going to play around a bit with positioning, and then once I think they are in a place where I like them, I will take you around. All right, I've laid the plants out, so I'm gonna take you around and show you my thoughts. And also keep in mind that a lot of the plants you see here, like the impatiens, will be pulled, the hydrangeas will have lost all of their leaves. I'm probably gonna leave the blooms on these hydrangeas, again, just for some winter interest. I will definitely be decorating the arch, so that looks pretty, but I'm not committed to any of these positions, and luckily, when you grow in pots, you don't have to be. All right, so over here, kind of around the arch and the evergreen that I do have planted in the ground, I put one of the junipers there. Once these plants along this wall die back, I'm going to scooch that over so it is actually sitting in the soil right up against the edge of the arch. I put the smaller cypress right there. I just think that color looks good there. I think the roundness of it complements the boxwood that it's next to, and that's probably going to be its position unless I completely change my mind. I have the 4 boxwoods in one pot here. So once the white impatiens are gone, I think I'm going to tuck that just into the corner. So it's not sitting in the exact spot where it will be, but it does look pretty surrounded by the impatiens. And then I put the other matching juniper there. That way there is some balance. And I like the idea of the in-ground tree with a pot right next to it. I might shift some things around again once the impatiens are gone, but I think I like the setup for these 4. Now, for the last 3, first of all, the Fluffy Arborvitae right there, that's the one that is the least cold tolerant. So my plan is I'm going to put it in the ground area. I might even twist the pot back and forth to get it in there a couple inches. I put it up against the wall so that it stays the warmest right there. And then I always do just sweep up the leaves and leave them on the beds. So I will also just cover it with some leaves. Maybe I'll put burlap around the pot if I think it needs some extra, but I really would like to see what can survive with just a few small tweaks and not have to do something that's gonna have a lot of work. So we'll see, but that's where I think I'm gonna position that plant. And then I also do have the cypress and the spruce there, but I think the cypress will stay somewhere in this corner. The spruce, I don't think will. So the spruce, ideally, I think I'm gonna put somewhere in the back of this bed as well, because that's the side that I can see most looking out the window. And I think that blue color will look nice there, but the impatient right now is kind of throwing off the space, and I will be able to wheel it back there. So I think that's gonna be my plan for the blue spruce, and then the other cypress will stay somewhere in that corner. There is a potted hydrangea in a very tall container behind it. I don't know if I'm gonna try leaving it there and just seeing how it does, or if I'm gonna move that to a protected area so there'll be even more space over there for the plant. This project is making me very excited. I don't know if maybe you live in an area where your winters aren't as long and they're not as cold, or maybe you don't mind the winter, but I'm not a winter girl. I like seeing as many colors outside as possible. So once all the leaves fall off the trees, off of all the plants down here, at least there will still be something that has a little bit of interest to it. Let me know your thoughts on if I should move things around in different places. I often just do that during the season anyway, especially if I find that the sun shifts a little bit down here. It's shifting more that way as the sun gets lower in the sky. But if you have any strong feelings about where any of these plants should go, let me know. This arch, like I said, will definitely have lights on it. I think I'm going to try to make a dried flower garland to put on it as well. So there will be more projects down here. So let me know what you think. And if you have successfully overwintered an evergreen in a container just outside as is in zone 6 or lower, please let me know. Like I said, I still have 2 more pots that I can fill. So that's going to be everything for this video. I cannot wait to kind of see how this space looks over the winter. I mean, summer should stay as long as possible, but I'm just excited to see if I can make something that is visually appealing and makes me happy to look at in the winter. So that's everything for now. I will see you in the next video.